Turkey's ambition to become an educational hub for international students has started to bear fruit. According to the latest UNESCO report, Turkey is listed among the top 10 nations with the most foreign students. Since last year, the country has welcomed more than 300,000 students from nearly 200 countries. Naim Ongoren looks at why international students are choosing Turkey.
Growing up in Sudan, becoming an engineer was not an easy dream for Ahmet Hashim. But now in Istanbul, almost 3,000 kilometers away from home, he is finally within reach of his dream.
The first goal for me to going back to my country, Sudan, is actually to, after I graduate, to make my family proud, especially my mom and my dad, because they worked so hard to get me in this position, and it's always been a dream for me, and to fix all the problems in Sudan and more develop Sudan, help all of the people to help Sudan right now.
Turkey has become an incredibly popular destination for foreign students. In the last decade, the number of the foreign students choosing to study in Turkey has risen from 48,000 to more than 300,000. School graduates from almost 200 countries have chosen to make Turkish institutions their home for higher education.
First, Turkey is a country open to the whole world, especially in the fields of practices like health. Turkey is a leading country both in education and treatment. Not only from the neighboring countries and Middle East, but also from Latin America, Asia and Africa. International students choose to come to Turkey.
And the numbers are there to prove this. Approximately 2.9% of the world's international students are pouring into Turkey's higher education system. But this comes with its own problems. Some on social media and websites claim the influx of foreign students has led to an increase in racist attacks. Yet students in the country, including Abdurrahman Al-Tayyib, who is studying architecture at Istanbul Kültür University, say they have never witnessed discrimination in Turkey.
So, first of all, we have to understand that these kind of acts are almost individual, the thing that we are seeing recently in the social media. From a personal experience, I've been here for almost 2 years right now, and I haven't experienced any racism or discrimination situation, neither in the school or outside of it.
Modern campuses with outstanding facilities, cultural diversity, high standards of education, and a hospitable atmosphere. With all this, it seems that Turkey and Turkish universities continue to be one of the most preferred destinations for foreign students. Naim Ongoren, Straight Talk.
Now to further discuss international students in Turkey, joining me now in the studio is Cagri Erhan. He is the rector at Altinbas University. And Ugur Yasin Asal, he is an associate professor at Istanbul Commerce University. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the set after a long while. So, Cagri, what makes the Turkish universities preferable for international students?
First of all, country, Turkey, is geographically a very suitable position because with Turkish Airlines, you can just travel within 3 hours, almost 150 countries around Turkey, including Africa, Europe, and Asia. Particularly in terms of universities, Turkish universities are outstanding success both in engineering, medicine, and social sciences. If you look at the Times Higher Education and QS rankings, you can see plenty of Turkish universities within 500 and 1,000 among other international universities. And on the other hand, Turkey as a country is a member of Bologna educational system, which means your diploma here, either from undergraduate or graduate level, is valid in all European and American universities. So if you want to go further for academic studies, you can apply to a PhD in an American or European university with your diploma you obtain from Turkey. And finally, of course, we should not forget, Turkey is also recognized by all of the African and Middle Eastern countries as an institutional hub. So when you get your diploma from, let's say, a pharmacy or medical school in Turkey, you can go and start your job, your business in your respective country.
So, Turkey is listed among the top 10 nations with the most international students. Is this something Turkey has strived for?
Yes, but also there are some challenges, and this should be governed by our country. as we know, there are some conditions are difficult, like we have already lived in an earthquake. And this also affects the choices and the preferences of those students. But even in our country, we have strong potential, which can also contribute to Turkish students and international students. As we live in our universities, they can easily be in touch and organize something and have fun. This is also a very strong opportunity for international students to integrate themselves into the Turkish community. And also the new platform for the universities are very also competitive. I mean, even foundation universities and state universities are offering different opportunities for international students. The international offices are very effective and make some new services for them, not just for visa issues, but also some accommodation, even some transportation supports, and even some scholarships. We are in the part of those scholarships committees, and we are trying to select the best international students who will also contribute Turkey's potential.
Sure. So, Charles, some social media and websites have lately claimed that the influx of international students has led to an increase in racist attacks. Is this really the case? What's the situation, and what's the reason behind these news, actually?
As a social scientist, I should admit that during this general election course, some marginal groups in Turkey, not the majority of Turkish people, but some marginal groups in Turkey just provoked, and they used these xenophobic and racist arguments, not only to the students, but also for all foreigners living in Turkey. Unfortunately, this is a tendency and this is a reality. When you go a European country to an American state, you also see some people, some marginal groups, they just target those foreigners. But if you look at the general Turkish community, there is no historical or philosophical roots for racism in Turkey. And this is a government policy. If you go all levels of society, throughout the history and nowadays, Turkish people just embraces the international students coming to Turkey, because we feel that they are our guests for 4 years, but they will be our friends for forever. So bearing in this mind, all Turkish universities and Turkish Civil Society and Turkish Higher Education Council, we have special programs for the students coming to Turkey with orientation. They will just integrate with Turkish community, with Turkish society, and we also have all kinds of measurements in our campuses to avoid any kind of racist or xenophobic attempt. So if you just compare with the other universities in Europe or United States, you will see any kind of racist attacks in Turkey is just below minimum level.
So, how are these international students adapting to the Turkish educational system as well as the Turkish culture? I mean, how do they blend with the Turkish students? What are your observations?
Yes, and the numbers of these international students are growing year by year, and they can easily get in touch and organize some public events with them, because they also know that they will stay here almost 4 or 5 years. And they need to learn how the Turkish students are also living in their own both opportunities and the supports for their universities. And they are organizing a lot of sports activities, which I'm witnessing them. And also they are trying to travel around the Turkish countryside. And they are trying not just staying in Istanbul, Ankara, whether they are visiting the other cities as well. And also they mostly refer the Turkish cities and education system, because Professor Çağrı also mentioned the ECTS. This is very significant in international education, because the ECTS is the credit system of European based, and if the Turkish ECTS are allowed to be in part of the international one, they can directly apply for the other programs as well. I mean, for master degrees or even PhD degrees, they can start directly their job opportunities in the other countries. And also the higher education of Turkey has significant targets on international students, try to increase the numbers and also varieties of them, not just from some specific countries, try to enlarge these opportunities for the other European and also North African countries, even some Asian countries. And the last years, I have witnessing that mostly Turkic states, they are
Central Asian countries.
Yes, Central Asian countries sending their students to educated in Turkey also.
But Çağrı, besides ACTS, if I'm saying correctly, what do Turkish institutions offer different than other prominent countries, as you have mentioned, whether be it in the United States or in Europe?
The most important thing is the higher education in Turkey is very linked with the industry and business companies. So any student, either Turkish or international student in Turkey, while taking her education, she can also apply for co-op, but it's a kind of internship, cooperative education in a Turkish industrial firm.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.
Thank you.